Wait, which movie are we doing?
Bride of Chucky.
Oh, shit. Okay. I thought we
What do
were
you think
doing
we were
Seed
doing?
of Chucky, but we're doing Bride of
Oh
Chucky.
my god!
Okay,
Yeah, we're doing
great.
Bride of Chucky.
Okay, great. Hold on,
This
let
is
me
so
just...
funny.
Got it. Okay, I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm so ready.
What is your podcast about? Hanging out with your smartest and funniest friend. You know me. I'll kill anybody, but I'll only sleep with someone I love. Baby, she's a slut, just like her mother.
Hi, sweet face, and welcome back to Horror Icon, your queer playground for all things scary, sexy, and stupid.
Yep, that's me. I bet you're wondering how I got here. As it turns out, this silly little bitch didn't realize that her microphone settings had reset themselves, and so the microphone right in front of her face is not on. We live and we learn. We're gonna enjoy this show.
You know me, I'm CryBaby, the spooky slut from your wettest nightmares, and we are finally back with our Uber Extra special guest host. Say hi, Donnie!
Hi, everybody. I'm Donnie Cianciato. It is great to be back. I feel like it's been 83 years since we've done this.
It has been pretty much almost that long.
Mhm.
The last one we recorded was September?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was...
Something like that. It's been a full baby since the last time we recorded this.
We have indeed had a baby since the last time we did this.
Okay. Before we begin, I want to say hello to all of our returning listeners and viewers, and to our new listeners and viewers. It's about time that I do that YouTube thing where I tell you to like and subscribe and follow and rate us on Apple Podcasts and all that usual stuff. This is new for me. I'm getting used to asking you to do it, but it really does help. Mama's trying to grow. So, if you like what you see and if you like what you hear, give us a follow, give us a like. With all that said, hi, Donnie.
Hi.
Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, I'm always thrilled to be here. And today,
Yes.
everybody gets to join me in my inner sanctum, in my actual bedroom today, not my outer sanctum, which is a totally different thing. This is the inner sanctum,
Where the true magic happens.
where the magic happens. And I'm sure you will all get to see my cat at some point because he likes to be on film. He's his father's son. And
I genuinely hope we get to see some cat.
Oh,
I really hope we get to
there's
see some cat.
always cat in this bed.
Perfect. Well, also, I'd be remiss to not say Happy Pride. Happy Pride Month.
Yes, happy Pride Month indeed. It is June. Here we are.
It is June. Here we are. And
right? Kind of what I
honestly,
was saying.
yeah, just now more important than ever, be queer, be trans, be full of joy, be full of rage. You're allowed to be full of rage. I'm full of it.
So full of rage.
Yeah. Find healthy things to do with that rage, of course. But also, it's not sustainable to not allow yourself to find joy in these times. So, this month, go fucking crazy. Mama's gonna be doing it, and I hope you are too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. It's not sustainable to only have rage. You've got to also find those moments of joy, even if the moment involves watching a horror movie and eating popcorn.
That's exactly it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's, I'm going to be fully honest because, I lost my job back in February, and there was a little pocket of time where I just felt myself sitting in just doom and dread and anger and rage. And it got to a point where I'm just like, this is exactly what they want. And I cannot allow that to happen. Like, I can't just let myself become paralyzed because I am so angry and I don't know what to do with it.
Right.
Yeah.
You will survive out of spite. Like completely and totally out of spite, if that's the only reason that you are still going.
Yeah, that's my game plan. Also, I'm planning on being as queer as possible, even more so than I would under normal circumstances. Y'all are gonna be sick of me.
Super queer.
Sick. Yeah. Sick of me. Speaking of queer, we're covering a super queer franchise. We're returning, finally, to Franchise Friday, everybody.
Woo!
Yes. And Bride of Chucky is the one that we're going to be covering, which, for me, it's been long awaited. Has it been for you?
Tremendously long awaited. So, since September.
Since September, yes.
Or technically, since about 10 minutes ago.
That's fair. Yes, since about 10 minutes ago. Pulling back the curtain. Donnie, thought that we were covering Seed of Chucky today.
I was so prepared. I've got so much material, so much good stuff. And right before we started, I confirmed what movie we were doing. And no, that is why, as of about 10 minutes ago, this is going to be new for me, as new as it is for you. I can't wait.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. The chaotic gremlin that lives in my heart really wishes that that realization happened live. It's okay. It's all gravy. But yes, we're here to talk about Bride of Chucky. But before we do that, it's been a minute since we've been together. So, just to recap, we've talked thus far about the first Child's Play, the OG, the original.
OG.
Yes, with Mama Karen, whom we miss and love so much. And then we, of course, covered Child's Play 2, where Andy finds himself in the foster care system with his cool and very attractive older foster sister, Kyle.
Hi, Kyle. Miss you.
Donnie misses you, Kyle. Come hang out with us. And then the last episode we did together was for Child's Play 3, the often proclaimed, like, runt of the franchise, the least liked, if you would.
Yes. Yes. The one with the military school.
The military one, yes. So we have evolved beyond the Child's Play titling, and we are now officially in the era of Chucky.
It's like a whole new genre of movies. It might as well be an entirely new series.
1000%, yes. As we get into it, I'm going to point out an elephant that's going to be in the room, everybody. We're going to do things a little bit differently from here on out. Previously, Donnie and I would go through in detail the entire plot of the film. And we're going to experiment with other methods of covering this movie. A little less focused on detailed recapping and more just having a conversation about the movie.
That is so tremendously convenient for me today.
I know.
I can't wait. I can't wait to try this new format.
Yes, like it was so lucky with that. So lucky. Oh, I'm tickled. All right, let's go ahead and get in. So we're covering Bride of Chucky. Mama CryBaby wrote a little synopsis, if you would. This came from me. I did not pull it from IMDb, nothing like that. This is from the heart. So everybody, I hope you enjoy it. Love is dead, literally. 1 month after getting hacked up by Andy Barclay, Chucky is stitched back together and resurrected by a relentlessly romantic Tiffany Valentine, his former lover, accomplice, and Martha Stewart-loving mama's girl. After an argument, Chucky kills Tiffany and transfers her soul into a bride doll, giving Tiffany no other choice but to team up with him to become human again. Campy terror ensues as they hitch a ride with forbidden and stupid lovers Jesse and Jade on a murder-filled road trip to find the heart of Damballa, the never-before-mentioned amulet that will allow them to return to flesh once more.
The never-before-mentioned amulet. Yes.
The never-before-mentioned amulet.
Surprise.
Which apparently, apparently the Heart of Damballa was like in the original script of like the first movie. Well, maybe not the original script, but like an earlier iteration of the Voodoo script.
Mm-hmm.
And it just got nixed. So like they brought it back, but it's like, Mama, come on. We've never heard of this before.
Ah, Hollywood. Hollywood magic.
Yes, we love a retcon, don't we? Yes. I love plot devices and MacGuffins. It's great.
MacGuffins, that's true.
So, so here we are with Bride of Chucky. It is, I know a lot of people will say that this is their favorite one, and I don't blame them. It's a lot of fun.
To be honest with you, I think it's my favorite one.
It is. You know what? I don't blame you.
Yep, it is. You don't blame me. Good. There are other ones that certainly come close and have super redeeming qualities, but this one, I'll give you one guess as to why, and it's got two names. Jennifer Tilly.
Jennifer Tilly, baby. Of course. We cannot begin to talk about this movie without embracing and celebrating the introduction of Jennifer Tilly to this franchise.
Truly, it's remarkable. It changes everything. It lends something to the franchise that has not been there before, which is a little bit of camp, a little bit of sexuality, or at least kind of blatant sexuality. It would be remiss for me not to say that she's just so hot.
Yeah, yes.
Well,
she is one of my two favorite Jennifers.
Who's your other? Jennifer Coolidge.
Of course, I'm queer. Of course it's Jennifer Coolidge. Are you kidding me?
Obviously.
But Jennifer Tilly is at the top of that list for a million reasons. Yes, overtly sexual. Because how awkward would it be if Child's Play 1 and 2 were overtly sexual?
Would be totally different movies.
This is very up there for me too. I love this movie. It's directed by Ronnie Yu, who has a very like stylized visual palette, especially when it comes to like color and lighting. He directed Freddy vs. Jason. I think it was like what 5 years after this came out is when he moved on to do Freddy vs. Jason.
I just watched it. Yeah, and it is very cool. It's got a lot of great visuals in it.
Yes, the only thing I don't like is like the choppy slow-mo kind of effects, but whatever. It's early aughts of it, you know? What do you expect?
Early aughts of it.
Kudos for a swing. I would much rather somebody like take a swing and like try something new and different than just sit on the same shit and not try anything new.
Right.
Which is why I love Don Mancini so much.
I'm impressed it took you that long to mention it.
I've been sitting on it for 9 months.
Yes. Don Mancini. Tell us about Don Mancini.
Oh, what is there to say about Don Mancini? He's an absolute babe. He's an absolute genius. And he is very smart, and here's why. So this movie, after Child's Play 3, right? It made money. Like, it was a financial success, but nobody liked it. Everybody thought it was stale and tired, and it just, as timing works out, this was as the slasher genre was becoming less cool. So they kind of put Chucky off to the side until what movie comes out in the mid-90s that changes everything? Scream, yes. The meta, funny, sexy, cool slasher. And that's like the perfect landscape for this movie to come back, is in that meta, self-aware landscape. So, of course, Don Mancini comes out with Bride of Chucky, which is a huge tonal shift in the franchise. It becomes so self-aware, and I just think it's really smart that he capitalized on the sensationalism beyond Scream.
He saw what was working and said, I can do that. You know, and for some reason, this movie lends itself to it. It's the first movie in the series that's aware that it's a movie. If you had tried that with another slasher, like Freddy or Jason, that wouldn't have necessarily really worked in the same way that it does with Chucky, and I think that's because of how clever and creative Don Mancini is.
Exactly. Well, and I think also, I mean, because Freddy and Jason have both had, if not films, moments where there was some meta stuff, right? Like, I remember in Friday Part 6, somebody makes a reference to a horror movie, right? And there's like little winks to the audience. And of course, we have Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which is, I feel like Wes Craven's New Nightmare is probably a little bit more responsible. Well, I mean, they're both Wes Craven, so whatever. But without Wes Craven's New Nightmare, I don't think we would have gotten to Scream.
You don't think so?
You know, I think New Nightmare walked so Scream could run. Because Wes took Freddy into the real world and really explored this self-aware movie within a movie. This is what horror looks like translated in the real world. And I think that is what put him on the docket to direct Scream, and I don't know if Wes didn't direct Scream, would it have been the same? We don't know. You know?
We don't know, but we think we know. Because I would say no.
Yeah, I would say no. Obviously, I'm not a scientist of any of this, but
a horror movie scientist, yes.
Yeah. Gosh, if I can get a scientist degree or whatever they're called in a horror movie.
That's what they're called, a scientist degree.
A scientist degree, absolutely. PhD, a pretty horror doctorate, or whatever.
Oh my God, that was good.
Degree,
well done.
diploma.
A pretty horror doctorate, yeah.
It has to be pretty, of course.
Obviously.
Yeah, all that to be said, you're right. Chucky is exactly the kind of character that thrives in this kind of narrative.
Oh, absolutely. And is that because it's easier for us to laugh at the ridiculousness of it because he's a doll? Maybe. But it just, as soon as it becomes self-aware, the audience is there for it and just along for the ride.
At that point, it's like you're in on the joke. You get to sit back and relax and enjoy. You know, when I think about things that are just innately just campy and just fun, there's a level of whimsy and exaggeration, and there's like an earnestness to it that I think this film does pretty well. You know? Was that a complete sentence?
That was a complete sentence. Yes, we had
Okay.
an A and a B, and we got to a C.
Yes, and now we have a PhD.
That's right. Oh, it's all about the
Uh,
the letters this Pride Month.
yes, the LGBTQ
That's right.
community.
Oh, I enjoy the fact that this
Uh,
movie is the first one where it really acknowledges the fact that we've been watching a murderous doll for 3 movies.
mhm.
It almost is, it's a wink and a nod to us in a way to say, isn't this silly? We've been doing silly things this whole time.
It does, because, I guess to, like, start touching on the movie itself, like, one of the first things we get is, like, meta central, because we're in that police depository with, you have Freddy's glove, and you have a chainsaw, and you have Jason's mask,
Right.
and the crate from Creepshow, which
Yes.
is such a deep cut.
That really is. That movie scared the crap out of me.
I fucking love Creepshow.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, it doesn't pull any punches right from the get-go. It lets you know exactly what kind of movie it's going to be.
Exactly. And it carries through, like, this whole opening sequence with the glorious introduction of Jennifer Tilly
Mhm.
killing that cop and,
Mhm.
like, the needle drop of Living Dead Girl. And it's like you instantly know we're in a new world
Mhm.
right out of the gates.
Right. This isn't your typical Child's Play movie. This is something that's going to be a little different.
Yeah, it's a little different, and I dare I say, I feel like there's a lot of whimsy to it, especially as we get into Tiffany's trailer and we see all of the dolls and that glorious bathroom.
Right. Tiffany's trailer is such a phenomenal set. As you mentioned earlier, the color palette is just fantastic, and it's got this like 1950s style kind of esque to it that's like mixed with a little Victorian burlesque. It's a trailer, but it's so much bigger on the inside. I mean, to have that bathroom, I would kill for that bathroom in my apartment.
Yeah, I would kill for that bathroom too.
Mhm.
Everybody, this bathroom is, oh my goodness, it's so big. The bathtub is luxurious. It's
That's
just
it.
really, it's fun and stylized, like you said.
Mhm.
If I had to think of a real life human being that I could imagine naturally living in this trailer, I think of Dita Von Teese.
I could see that. Dita Von Teese, absolutely. Mhm.
That, like, it's a very sexy, sensual, but still, like, heretical, subversive kind of vibe. It's really cool.
Mhm. Yeah, and Jennifer Tilly as Tiffany is just perfect for it.
Yes.
Before you even know too much about the character, you know that this is her voice. And,
Oh,
her collection
yeah.
of dolls and all the weird stuff that she's got going on there, on top
Mhm.
of the way they costume her and her nails. I mean, it was all perfect. Cohesively
Yeah.
beautiful.
The part was written for her, so, like, it's the perfect storm. And we get such fun imagery. I can't help but think of that meme that I see online of Jennifer Tilly on her knees with the pentagram on the floor and Chucky laying down. And it's always just like me and my hot goth girlfriend. Like, that is this, is
Mhm.
me and my hot goth girlfriend. It's a wonderful establishing moment for sure.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
again, it's whimsical.
whimsical is a great word for it.
I think a lot about our lost time in this movie because we end up having to spend some time getting to know that other shitty couple, like the neighbor Jesse and
Ugh.
his girlfriend Jade.
The straights.
The straights.
No
yeah.
offense to any straight people watching, but my goodness, be a little bit more interesting.
I think about how queer people are so drawn to couples like Chucky and Tiffany, and it's because they are subversive. They are the antithesis of heteronormative living. Even if they are like from an outside perspective, a straight couple,
Mhm.
there's still this queer undertone to how they navigate the world. And
Yes,
there's a
we're
queerness
absolutely
to
queer.
their otherness.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep, yep. You're entirely correct. I don't even necessarily think of them as a straight couple because they resonate such queerness by being so different. You know.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, Tiffany is bisexual, like, or pansexual. She has a manic sexuality to her because later on in the series, there's an evolution with another character that happens. I think that's one of the, because I've been thinking a lot about, like, am I being too mean about Jesse and Jade? Like, am I just being a bitch about this straight couple that thinks $1,000 is going to start them a new life?
Awful.
And half of me says yes, like, they totally deserve it. But then the other half of me is just like, it's difficult for me to go from this couple that I identify with so much as a queer person and go to a couple that I do not give two shits about.
Mhm.
And they're also just not a good couple together. They're not a good relationship.
No, it's a bad relationship. They're young and stupid, but not in like an, oh, this is endearing kind of way. They're, like you said, they think $1,000 is going to get them, out of town and they'll begin this whole new life together. It's just,
Yeah,
it's not, I don't want to say it's not well written, but it's such a, slamming on the brakes, then veering off into this suburban storyline when we're having so much fun watching Tiffany and Chucky. And then all of a sudden we're in, Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, but it's really boring. I don't know if it's there to draw a counterpoint to how much fun we're having, but when you're looking at Chucky and Tiffany or Mickey and Mallory or Bonnie and Clyde, and you're really excited by this couple that's energetic and different and kind of crazy, and then all of a sudden you have like Jesse and Jade. Why
the most
do you wanna-
vanilla white bread.
Yeah, why even want to waste your time on them? It's like, no, go back to the good stuff.
Yeah, and to expand, elements of the film, like even when we do go to Jesse and Jade, there are some gems. We get John Ritter,
We do get Jones.
thankfully. The John Ritter's like the shitty uncle to Katherine Heigl's Jade.
Right.
And shitty is I mean that positively. He hates her.
Yes.
And I wonder
Yeah, he
why.
does not like her. And he's known for playing such likable, wonderful characters. So to see him
Mhm.
being kind of a dick and a cop, you're like, ooh, all right. For me, I'm like, get it, John. Chew on that.
Yeah.
Give me those acting chops. But it's still
Yeah.
it's a little jarring to see him be like the bad guy.
Yeah, but that's what I love about it. I
Mhm.
really do. And you're right, it's fun. And we do get we get the first like confirmed like openly gay character in this movie with David. I feel like they threw a handful of gay stereotypes in a blender, which in the 90s,
That's what they did.
and to let you all know what I'm talking about with David, and if there's anything I forget, Donnie, please let me know. But first off, he has frosted tips,
Yes, he does.
which is like it's not inherently homosexual, but paired with pierced ears in the 90s,
It's pretty gay.
pretty gay.
Well,
What else? He knows a lot about flowers. He knows how to keep the corsage alive. Figure skater.
figure
He's going
skating.
to
Mhm.
college on an athletic scholarship for figure skating.
Mhm.
I feel like I'm missing something. Is there anything else?
Oh, the only thing that I can think of is what comes later, where we find out that his mother is not supportive of his relationship.
That's right. That's right.
Mhm.
We get the one moment of like authentic queer experience that we get for him. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, poor sad David can't write a happy gay character.
Gay people only exist to have plot lines about being gay.
Right. And usually those plot lines are there to benefit the straight characters. And that's exactly
Yeah,
what
it's
David
like
is. He's, the wingman for Jade, pretending to date her so that her stupid uncle doesn't know that she's actually dating the bad guy. But he knows.
exactly.
Frosted tips and earrings and figure skating. It's like it's pretty obvious,
Yeah, because they immediately get caught up with that fucking pencil neck ass needle nose cop.
That's right.
The pencil neck.
neck.
Basically, all you need to know with Jesse and Jade, Jesse loves, it's like a Romeo and Juliet thing. They're star-crossed, stupid lovers. Jesse loves Jade, Jade loves Jesse. Warren hates Jade, does not want her to be with Jesse because Jesse lives in a trailer park next to Tiffany.
Mhm. And therefore is a
And
horrible man because he lives in that trailer park.
are we about to hit a thesis on classism in the Child's Play franchise?
We
Is that where
might.
we're
We
going
might
with
be
this?
close.
I mean, we had Karen the working mama from one. We
Mhm.
have the suburban, well-to-do adopters that
Right.
should not have been parents in two.
No.
We have the predatory nature of the military-industrial complex in three.
Mhm.
And we have trailer trash in four. Or Bride of Chucky, sorry, not four.
Not for Bride of Chucky. Well, I don't
Yeah.
know. There's something to be said about all of those things. So whether they were trying to make a statement or made one accidentally in hindsight, I don't know.
And here's another not-so-secret third thing. I can justify anything. I can. You can hand me a bag of peas and some soccer cleats, and I'll find a way to make them work
Yeah.
together. Like, that's just how I operate.
Well, I know what I'm getting you for your birthday. Happy birthday!
Oh, thank you. Oh
You're
my God, everybody,
welcome.
my birthday.
Your
My birthday
birthday
was 2
just
days ago,
happened.
everybody.
Yeah, amazing. Happy birthday. You're 18.
Yeah, I'm so
Hopefully.
fresh and young and naive and nubile.
That's right. Nubile for sure.
And Horror Icon is officially 1 year old.
Wow, really?
Yeah, because we launched it on my birthday last
We
year.
launched it on your birthday. That's well,
We launched it on my
happy
birthday.
birthday, everybody.
I know. And it's so funny because, like, I think we're at 5 episodes,
I know, right?
which is fine. Like, I'm not mad. Life happens. I know, Donnie's, you've had your shit going on, so
I've
I'm just
lived
happy to hear
16 lives in the past 1 year.
it. Tell me about it.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, where were we? Oh, we were with those fuckers, Jesse and Jade. Thankfully, we get to go back to the trailer park, and we get to learn a little bit more about Tiffany and how she loves murder. She's dating a wannabe murderer played by the late great Alexis Arquette.
Mhm. Also, in and of itself, very queer to have had Alexis there. Yeah, the obsession with murder and death is pretty apparent.
Yeah, it almost is borderline kink,
Oh, I think
right?
it's totally kink. You know, they don't just love it for the sake of it. They love it for like the sensuality, this power control, the sexuality.
The primal nature, the excitement of it all, spicing things up. Because Tiffany gets mad turned on when she thinks that Damien killed somebody.
Mhm.
And then as soon as she realizes that Damien didn't kill anybody, it's like,
A cold shower.
yes. But this is where we find out that Chucky actually does come back to life. And he kills Damien.
Out of jealousy. Who wouldn't? Over Jennifer
Who
Tilly?
wouldn't?
Mhm.
Yeah, let's talk about that lap dance. There's a lap dance, everybody.
There is a lap dance.
Well,
Ugh.
no, maybe not like lap dance. It's a tease dance.
More like a tea dance.
I mean, Damien's chained to the bed and Chucky's sitting on Damien, and it's just, she knows how to get Chucky riled up. She knows exactly. Not only is she flaunting her goodies, but she is talking the talk.
Mhm.
And Chucky gets jealous, kills Damien in a graphic kill. Well, like graphic to me because I have lip piercings.
Right. I guess that
Yeah,
would be a little close to home. Yeah.
yeah. Because I don't have my piercing in right now. You can't see it, everybody, but trust me, it's there. I have holes. I have so many holes.
You do have a lot.
Um, I have a lot. But yeah, Chucky rips out Damien's like lip ring and suffocates him and stuff. But it's a cute little pillow talk moment where they're catching up, and Chucky ends up disappointing Tiffany because he doesn't want to be with her long term the way that she thought he did, and she goes from 0 to 60 and starts taunting him like crazy. I love a bitch that can like flip on a dime
And
as a
she
Gemini.
does. As a Gemini. Yeah, of course you do.
Hmm.
Yeah, and she does. She is mad that he did not actually want to get engaged, which is what she thought was going to happen. And she
Hmm.
finds out, and what does she end up doing? She locks him in it looks like a crib, a little box type crib thing. And,
It is, yeah.
yeah, I don't know why she had a locking crib. So that's something that I don't think it was mentioned, but hey, she did.
I bet you it was for Damien.
I think so too.
I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee it was for Damien.
Yeah.
Actually, very clearly, Tiffany was a big time dom in that relationship.
Oh yeah.
And they hadn't had sex up until that point. I don't think, right?
Keeping it all to herself and using Damien for what she wanted.
Well, yeah, and it's just like a placeholder until like she wanted Chucky.
Mhm.
That's it. And then when she realizes that Chucky doesn't want her the way that she wanted him, yeah, she locks him up. She gives him that little bride doll, the bride bell doll,
Mhm.
with the voice box that's voiced by Jennifer Tilly as well.
Again, we're leaning into the goofiness of it.
Yep, and then Chucky's pissed.
Rightly so. Remind me where the heart of Nabala comes into all of this.
So what happens is obviously Chucky's pissed. He ends up killing Tiffany, and he does so in a wonderful scene.
Oh, it's so good.
Tiffany's taking that bath, watching The Bride of Frankenstein, which this movie heavily influenced by.
Woohoo.
And he pushes the TV in and electrocutes her. It's
so
my
cool.
favorite of the movie. It's so good.
I think it's mine too. It goes on for so long, and when you're kind of ready and expecting it to be done, she's still screaming and kicking bubbles all over the place, and you're like, this is pretty good.
And there are bubbles everywhere. It's
Mhm.
almost like a rave in Brooklyn. There's flashing lights. There's bubbles everywhere.
There's a
like,
naked blonde,
someone's- Yeah, there's a naked blonde. Exactly. Um, But the heart of Damballa comes in because Tiffany, of course, is pissed. I love her reaction when she wakes up in the Belle doll. The way she screams and like punches the shit out of Chucky, it's so good. Chucky lets her know, hey, if you want to get back into your body, you're stuck with me. We got to go to Hackensack, New Jersey and get this heart of Damballa that I say I was wearing that night, but records show I wasn't.
Right. We know that you weren't. And I mean, when I need to
Mhm.
get the heart of Damballa, I automatically think Hackensack. That's where I gotta go.
Everything happens in New Jersey.
Well, yeah.
Of course, Jersey is the land of wonder. No, it's funny though, because there is kind of a goof here, because I think they say that Charles Lee Ray, was shot and killed in Hackensack, New Jersey, but we know that to be not true.
Right. They were in
Just
Chicago.
whatever, I don't care. But they do have to go to Hackensack, New Jersey, and this is where those stupid lovers come in. Chucky and Tiffany need a ride, so that's why they bring Jesse and Jane.
Oh, and that's where they meet Jesse and Jane. Right. They need to catch a ride with star-crossed lovers who are running from responsibility and Uncle Warren.
Yeah, they just want to elope. As soon as Tiffany says, hey, I'll pay you $1,000 to take these dolls to New Jersey, he is just like, Jade, we'll put you through college. I'll
Right.
put a down payment on an apartment. You won't have to work. I'll get a job. And I'm like, girl, $1,000? Like,
You're going to spend $500
what?
of that on gas before you even get to Hackensack. And this is why they should teach like economics in school again. We should be having math classes about like how much things actually cost and how to pay bills and how to be responsible for yourself.
That would make us all like too good at being adults.
Yes, and we can't have that.
It's hard to control people when they know what they're doing.
Mhm,
Like,
yeah.
let's be real here.
That's the truth.
Um,
No, he really thinks that he's gonna begin this new life with $1,000. Now, I'm not saying I don't want $1,000 if somebody wants to send me $1,000, but I know I'm not going to put somebody through college on it.
But they still try. They run off. They grab the dolls. John Ritter knows, and he tries to plant. Oh, he successfully does. He puts a weed in the back of Jesse's van, and in the process gets killed by Tiffany.
Watching John Ritter get killed with a nail gun is extraordinary. Everybody should experience it at least once. And that's not my favorite death because Gentily's death is my favorite, but I think it's my second favorite death.
I feel like as we go through these, you're going to remember deaths, and you're going to be like, wait, this one's my favorite
That's
too. And
also my favorite death. Yeah.
There's one specifically in my mind, and when we get there, I'm just expecting you to be like, well...
Oh, that's the thing.
But no, you're right. In this, we get like that fun little. It's the subtext is very sex, obviously, but where Tiffany's just like, "Don't stab him to death." That's so 80s.
So
Like
80s.
Stabbies went out with Dahmer and Bundy, and they just have this fun little banter about how Tiffany wants the death to be creative, which is why they do the nails on the fucking airbag to like launch into his face, and it does look good. I always think about how his one lip is like it's nailed to his face. It's nailed up. If you're not watching the video, everybody, it looks my finger is in my mouth right now. In case you couldn't hear it, my finger is in my mouth.
Yeah, he does have his nip nailed to his own face.
He gets nailed, and they put him in the back of the van, and Jesse and Jade run off to start their new life with $1,000, and immediately get pulled over by that fucking needle nose ass bitch.
The cop who works for Uncle Warren.
Yeah, I'm so glad he gets blown up.
You know, that's okay. So, it's not my favorite death, but it's a good one. You know, the big explosion at the convenience store, gas station, drive-in, diner, whatever the hell they stop at. It's one of those things where it's like, what small town bullshit is this? Every single person in the high school is there.
Yeah, it's very public. Surprisingly, nobody else dies, just the cop. Chucky's the one that does it. He turns the cop car into a Molotov cocktail, which I appreciate.
I appreciate that too. Everybody should know how to do that.
And also, I just have to say, I love... There's a line read where, like, this guy, he's a stoner, and he sees Chucky crawling past him, and Chucky flips him off, and this guy's like, rude fucking doll. It's so funny. But this is, after the cop dies, this is where we find out how truly shitty Jesse and Jade are, because they immediately blame the other person for blowing up this cop.
Yeah.
And they still decide to get married.
I think if I really had any legitimate suspicions that my teenage partner had just murdered someone and blew up a rest stop, I might be a little turned off. That's true. But if I really thought about it, I feel like it would be a topic of conversation. Whereas these two just suspect the other, but never say anything about it.
Not really. Well, it's all like, what did you do? I thought you went to grab snacks. I did go to grab snacks. Well, I thought you did this. Well, I did do that. It's nonsense.
It shows a lack of communication.
It does.
Mhm.
And it makes me think a lot about this heteronormative pressure to be in a domestic partnership, even if it's with somebody that you don't trust
Mhm.
or that is not in line with the way you want to live your life or
Yep.
anything like that. And again, it goes down to that lack of communication. It's just like jumping into this because this is what we do as
Mhm.
cishet people. We get into these relationships and we do that. We get married.
We get married.
Even if
and-
we think that they may have blown somebody up.
Right. We don't have any communication skills yet because we're 18 and 17 or however old they are, but we're still going to go ahead and get married because that's what you do. And like maybe you should wait a little bit, let your frontal lobe fully develop, before leaping into something like that. But you're right. It's very like, this is what we do. And, if there's something that we're uncomfortable about, we don't necessarily talk about it.
And it's like, again, it's even more weird to me that they immediately go to Niagara Falls to get married. It's like, this will fix the relationship. This will
Obviously.
fix us.
And after that, she should
Yeah.
be pregnant.
But it's so funny watching this couple's relationship dynamic fall apart while we're watching Chucky and Tiffany's get stronger.
Mhm.
They bond and like they're smoking weed together, they're spending time with each other again. Chucky is so turned on with like how Tiffany is killing people. Like it's really interesting to see how those two things slide past each other.
Mhm. Yeah, you find yourself really rooting for them right from the get-go. I remember seeing this movie when it came out, and what year did it come out?
1998.
Okay, so I was pushing 18. You grow up surrounded with heterosexuality, whether it's in literature or television or movies. You always see straight people, even if it's in what I would consider a good movie like Scream. It's still all about straight people. When you eventually get something that's a little bit different, at least for me, I clung to it. Even if it was watching a movie like Trick or a movie about gay men, I had to translate that into my brain for lesbianism because I was a teenage lesbian. Yet it was still more satisfying than watching some of these straight heterosexual romances. And that's just how I feel with these two. It's just like I have nothing in common. I don't understand what you're doing. And yet Tiffany and Chucky might be these murderous dolls, but I feel like I have more in common with them than I do with the kind of Ozzy and Harriet heterosexual couple. And so it was just such a thrill to me to be able to see something a little bit different and go, oh yeah, why? I don't know exactly why I feel compelled to, root for Chucky and Tiffany because I'm not a killer, but I knew I was queer. I just don't think that I understood that they were queer coded at the time. And now I'm like, oh, makes sense.
Yes, it makes so much sense. Jesse and Jade really are as white bread can get. They are a La Croix water. The faint thought of a relationship. Like they're so boring. Being so closely compared to Chucky and Tiffany, it's impossible to not favor Chucky and Tiffany, especially like you said with the queer coding, with the Jennifer Tilly of it all. Even like Brad Dourif and Jennifer Tilly's chemistry, it's just way more exciting to listen to. We don't even see it. It's fucking puppets.
That's what's amazing.
The puppets have better chemistry than these two straight people. I'm sorry.
They're never on screen together. It's the two of them in a studio, and they are so electric that it's to have been a fly on the wall of that studio while they were recording.
Oh, I know. Don Mancini had this brilliant idea for like when they were recording these. He had them in the same studio facing each other so they could play off of each other. And I think that was a wonderful call. And that led to a lot of improvised stuff, like with the doll sex scene. And we're about to get to that, everybody. What happens after people get married? I've never been married, so I don't know. But
I've been married 1.5 times.
1.5 times?
Yes, because once it was legal and once was before gay marriage was legal. So it was like 1.5 times. Once was a marriage and once was a domestic partnership. And as far as I can tell you, after people get married, they go to Stonewall, get drunk, go home, and fall asleep.
The answer I was looking for was they fuck, but I will accept that. They go to Stonewall. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it was close enough.
No, yeah. Well, because Jesse and Jade, they end up getting married, and there's these swingers next door whom are also queer coded.
Yeah,
I
very
honestly feel
much.
like Jesse and Jade are the only straight people in this movie.
It's almost like they're there just so you can compare everybody else to them, so you
Yeah.
can be more excited about all the other characters just because you have these basic bitches that you can compare them to.
Yeah, because we have, I think their names are Diane and Stu. These swingers,
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I understand that they're crooks or whatever, but they're hot. I would
Yeah,
say yes.
I know it would be hard to say no.
If they came into my room and said, hey, you're freshly married, we're here to have fun. Do you want to have fun? I would be like, fuck yeah.
I'd probably hide my wallet first, but then I'd be like, yes.
Good call. Good
Mhm.
call. Well, I wouldn't leave my money out there like that.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
Yeah, because they come in, they steal money from Jesse's wallet, of course, and Tiffany clocks it. And she also sees that Diane stole the ring, the wedding ring.
Mhm.
And so Tiffany, being the self righteous woman that she is,
Wow.
goes and she kills them in a really fun way.
Okay, so I love this death, but it's not my favorite.
I know. It's not your favorite.
No, no. Talk to me on a different day. Maybe it will be. It's a wonderful death, but right now I'm just really fixated on Jennifer Tilly in the bath. But no, this is a fantastic death. It's a really cool scene, really cool effect with the mirror breaking over the bed and all the mirror shards falling down on this. I think it's a heart-shaped waterbed. Maybe it's a circle in.
One of those.
Yes, it's definitely not your average water. And you've got water shooting up and blood all over the place and the metal raining down, and it's just very satisfying to watch.
It is. And this one is done by Tiffany throwing a champagne bottle up in that mirror. And Chucky sees the whole thing. And this is like, I am not editing this at all. They die, and he turns to Tiffany, and he's just like, I love you. He went from 6 to midnight. Chucky is chubbing so hard.
Little doll charm.
Yeah, because he is anatomically correct, we discover.
We do discover that. Also, they both have tongues.
Boy, do they have tongues.
That's nice.
We get a wonderful, and you know what I love about this is how earnestly this doll sex scene is played. It is played as if we are watching Nicole Kidman and what's his fuck.
Tom Cruise. Yep.
It is being played so straight in every way.
That's what makes it so good. Like you really
Yeah.
believe you're seeing this because they're taking it seriously. It's like comedy improv. If you go on stage trying to be funny, you're going to be that guy that nobody thinks is funny because you're trying to. But if you go on stage and you just try to be real, what you do is going to be funny. And the way that they do it is by taking it so real and realistically that it becomes this hysterical thing. That if they were intentionally trying to make it campy or, trying to drop one-liners and be silly, we'd be like, this is too much. But because they really mean it and they're earnestly and enthusiastically portraying this doll sex, it's a brilliantly well done scene.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because thinking about the successful execution of camp, it is very difficult, if not totally impossible, to be campy by trying to be campy.
Right.
In order for camp to be successful, there has to be that earnest quality to it. And we get that with the little tasteful touch of doll butt crack and the silhouette of them and the doll sex noises, the moaning and the banter. Like, that's all coming from a very real, earnest place. And that's why it succeeds at being one of the campiest points of this movie.
Yeah.
And this movie is campy as fuck.
Right. You can't force campiness. You can't be campy by trying to be campy. And that's why not everybody can do it. That's why certain comedies are so hard to accomplish. I want to say anybody can be dramatic, but not everybody can be fun. I mean, Brad Dourif has already proven to us what a terrifying person he could be. And now he's showing us that he can be charmingly hilarious as well.
He's a romantic lead.
Yeah.
And to further prove our point, everybody, all I have to say is take a look at the Met Gala from a couple years back when the theme was camp, and you'll know exactly what we mean.
Yep.
Because, girl, they set themselves up for failure.
Yeah, most people didn't get it.
I feel like the people that got it are the people that would have been campy anyway, no matter the theme.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I had this conversation like 5 days ago with a bunch of friends, so it's like very hot on my mind.
The Met Gala specifically.
Well, just the idea of them trying to emulate camp in an environment that is the majority, almost the antithesis of camp, because the Met Gala cares too much about how it's perceived. And I feel like the thing with camp is there's a reverence in being irreverent and
Yeah.
knowing that you are celebrating something that is in bad taste and doing it anyway and doing it genuinely. And an institution like the Met Gala is not a place for that to really come alive,
You're right.
in my opinion. But I'm just a 36-year-old cross-dressing homosexual in Brooklyn. What do I know?
What do I know about camp?
They're intense. That's what camp is.
They're intense.
Anyway, doll sex scene, campy as fuck.
Yeah, that's good.
I love when Tiffany asks if he has a rubber, and he's like, "Look at me, I'm all rubber."
I'm all rubber.
Which is also, like, not to show my ass on the internet or anything. I mean, I've already done that. But another thing that I think about, because obviously, like, I'm on PrEP, I'm on DoxyPep, I get tested so regularly that it's not as much of a thought on my mind to have a condom, because a lot of the partners that I have operate the same way as me. Like, we are all very informed, responsible, stuff like that. So I'm just like, oh yeah, that's like a whole thing that people have to think about, which is funny too, because I also know from experience a lot of heterosexual people that do not get tested
Yeah, I think
at
the
all.
group of people that I know who get tested the least are straight people. But I do want to just point out
Yes.
here that as a transgender guy, I have to worry about condoms because of pregnancy. I'm on PrEP. I have PEP. It's always like, now I'm getting a little old to get knocked up. But
Yeah,
who wants to take that?
that's
chance?
fair.
You know, who wants to do that?
Honestly,
I'd be the
no,
most
not at
miserable
all.
44-year-old pregnant man anybody had ever met.
Pregnancy does play a game in this movie.
That it does.
Well, I guess more so the next one, but oh, we get another queer moment with Kathy Najimy
Oh
cameo.
my goodness, I almost forgot about that cameo. Yeah, what a great 30
How dare
seconds of
I?
a movie.
Mary Sanderson comes in and finds the dead swingers. How gay is that?
That's pretty
Come
gay.
on.
It's pretty
Yeah,
gay.
it's pretty LGBTQ.
Yeah, she is also a queer-coded, as far as I know, heterosexual. But
That character, or just Kathy Najimy
Kathy
as an
Najimy,
actress?
yeah, something about her. You're like, oh yeah, welcome to the family, Kathy. And I don't know if it's Sister Act or Hocus Pocus, but we just embrace her. Everything she does is a little queer.
I agree. There's just some people, like Jennifer Coolidge, for example, who simply by existing,
Mhm.
the community is just like, yes.
Yeah.
You know, I also think of Sarah Michelle Gellar because of her stint on Buffy and as Daphne and Scooby-Doo. So Kathy is definitely one of those queens, those icons. Loved seeing her in this scene. And I hated that we cut away from her to go back to this stupid fucking couple. Because they think that they did it again.
Yeah, so now they each think that the other person has killed the couple. You know, couples will do anything but go to therapy.
Honestly. But what they do is they go to their gay friend who tries to play therapist and like mediate the whole thing. Because I guess they had like a phone call the night before. He ends up showing up and driving with them towards Hackensack. And he's just like, well, you both think that the other did it, so that tells me that neither of you did it, which is not sound logic,
No.
but at all.
Okay, maybe that makes sense to you, but it doesn't make sense to the rest of them.
It made sense to Jesse and Jade because they're like, okay, it's fine. And then he fucking finds Jason Ritter in the back of the car,
John
and
Ritter.
immediately they go back. Did I say Jason
You
Ritter?
said Jason, who, by the way, is really hot and wonderful, and we should all appreciate Jason. John's son. But John Ritter is the one who's dead. You thinking about Jason Ritter?
A little bit. John Ritter. He finds John Ritter in the back of this van, and they immediately jump on each other again.
Yeah.
Without
well,
missing a beat. They're like, I knew it was you.
if I saw somebody who had been killed with a nail gun, I would obviously think it was my significant other.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, obviously, I might think it was my significant other more so than the nail gun wielding murderous doll that I was unaware was alive.
We all learn, we all grow, we all evolve. But yeah, Gay Boy dies. David dies.
Because
He gets Final Destination.
he does get Final Destination, which go see Bloodlines if you haven't.
Everybody go see Bloodlines. I'm gonna second that.
Tony Todd, may he rest in peace. One of the things about being queer in cinema, if you haven't ever watched it or read it, because I think there's a book, check out The Celluloid Closet. And it talks about how queer and gay people in film are represented and that we die. We often die in horrific ways. And David, even in this movie in the late 90s about goofy murderous dolls, still can't live through a horror movie. But
Yeah.
even if it hadn't been a horror movie, he probably would have been off in some other way because that was
Yeah.
kind of just how things were. So of course he dies.
And not only does he dies in a very public way. It's not like he dies in the back of a truck and he's murdered by some dolls. No, he gets splattered on this highway for everybody to see.
Mhm.
It's so public. It's very gruesome. It's like we all knew he was going to die.
Of course, just by
Unfortunately.
him being queer. I
Yes.
can safely say not my favorite death.
I can safely say that as well. But at this point, Chucky and Tiffany out themselves. They come out of the closet and they're just like, we're here to take your bodies, you guys. And we're going to go kill this old couple, drive a Winnebago to New Jersey, and Tiffany and I are going to be fun. We're going to be married. And then we get into that lover's quarrel.
Hell hath no fury like Jennifer Tilly's sport.
No, you are right. Well, because we established she's a mama loving mama's girl. A Martha Stewart loving mama's girl.
Yes. She loves that Martha Stewart.
And Jesse takes advantage of that by convincing Chucky to treat Jennifer Tilly, aka Tiffany, like shit.
Mhm.
And it turns into a fight.
Yeah,
The girls are fighting.
the girls are the dolls are fighting. The girls are fighting. It's a cool
dolls are
sequence in the back of this Winnebago that how did they get the Winnebago?
They just stole it. They killed it. We don't see it on screen.
don't
They
see
just like
There's an old
Tiffany's baking cookies.
and she opens the and we see the dead couple. Unless
Mhm.
I'm making that up completely.
You're 100% accurate.
I've only
Yes.
watched this movie 113 times, so you think I would have it nailed down by now.
Just like John Ritter's face. Ew.
Maybe it's long COVID, maybe it's age. I just don't remember things the way that I used to.
Girl, you're not alone.
Yeah, and then the Winnebago ends up getting run off the road.
It's this weird thing where like Tiffany gets kicked in the oven, Chucky shoots at Jesse, Jesse pushes him out the window, crashes the Winnebago, and then there's fire.
There's lots of fire. Yes, and Tiffany gets
Lots
pushed
of fire.
kicked in the oven. Yeah, that's a big deal. She was baking.
Yeah.
And now she's baked.
And now she's baked.
Mhm.
And she's in the oven and she's got something in the oven too.
See, this is what happens when you don't wear a rubber.
That's true. Very, very true.
There's something about the idea of him shooting out like little rubber sperm that's just really gross, but also
That's actually,
kind of cute.
I didn't even think about what his sperm would look like.
Well, it would be little pieces of rubber, right? So
We do see some Chucky juice in Seed of Chucky.
Yes, we
and it
do.
looks pretty
Sperm.
standard issue.
yeah, it does look serious.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Very spermy, so whatever. Unfortunately, no rubber sperms on this one. Damn
no.
it. This is our third act thing. I'm not a big fan of this whole third act because, like, they go to the cemetery. The only thing I like is when Chucky and Tiffany get into a fight, a
Yes.
physical fight,
That part's cool.
after she betrays him. Because, plot twist, Tiffany is the reason why Chucky doesn't get to do what he wants to do. She stabs him in the back, literally.
Literally, yeah. They're at the cemetery. They go to his grave, get the heart of Damballa, which was around his neck, but it wasn't. And the goal is for them to take over Jade and Jesse's bodies so that they can live again as human beings. But like, what a boring existence that would be. They're both so boring. You could pick better bodies than
Honestly.
you would like go to the mall and go to Hot Topic and find two much more interesting people.
Listen, the fact that this didn't work out is a blessing in disguise, you guys. Trust me. You'll be happy.
Yeah.
100%.
Can you imagine them in
Spoiler.
those vanilla bodies? Ugh.
Absolutely not. No. No. I'm glad that Tiffany and Chucky die in this movie. I never thought I'd say that. I'm glad that they don't succeed. Yeah, this whole third act as a whole is just, it is what it is. It gives us a pregnancy
Mhm.
and a jump scare ending with little baby Gigi coming out of Tiffany and killing the cop.
Mhm. The cop who
Yeah.
shows up and is like, "We've been tracking you, Jesse and Jade, and you're wanted for murder." And then is like, you know what? Everything's cool.
Yeah, he sees he sees Chucky running around. He's like, Jesse and Jade, they're good.
You guys are go on your way.
He says something along the lines of like, you two get out of here and stay put. And I'm like, which one do you want, sir? Like, where are we going?
What do you mean? Yeah, use better words, officer.
Yes, be more direct. It's like, you run a department with that mouth? Really? Okay. Sure. But yeah, that's all in all the whole thing. I would definitely, if you haven't seen it, watch it.
Of course.
It's very accessible. But I am curious, Donnie, on your perspective, and I think I already know the answer because you said this was your 113th time watching it.
Oh,
But
really?
I rewatch movies a lot. How would you feel? How do you feel about the rewatch value of this movie?
Well, I think it's pretty substantial having watched it 113 times, but it's brain candy when you want to put something on that you don't really necessarily have to focus on 100%. And maybe you already kind of know the story, but you don't really remember it. This is something great to watch. It's pretty to look at because the color schemes and the sets are so great. It's funny. It has really exciting, enjoyable kills in it. And it's not something that like, oh, I put that on and it took 2 hours of my life. For me, it's like, oh, that benefited 2 hours. I think if you've seen it, especially if you haven't seen it in a while, there are so many little nuances for you to catch the next time you watch it. But I absolutely think that it's got rewatch value.
Yeah, because it's the first time you watch it, it's kind of hard not to get lost in the novelty of it. So it's like it's definitely one of those movies that I think you benefit revisiting from time to time
Mhm.
again, with space in between, of course,
Right.
like any good rewatch, and you'll see a lot more of that nuance. Because I think a lot of the queer coding is buried so deeply in the subtext and in your personal relationship with queer identity and with horror
Mhm.
that you need that time to reconnect with it and to digest it. Because I don't think up until this year, I would have thought of Chucky and Tiffany as being queer coded.
Mhm.
It took me a couple of rewatches to be like, oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when I first saw it, that was quite a long time ago. And then I watched it several times, throughout my life, and then started rewatching it when I knew we were going to do this. So I don't know how much time had passed, maybe 10 years between the last time I'd watched it when I watched it for this series. And it was eye opening in a way. I was like, wow, look at all of this stuff that I didn't catch, didn't recognize,
Hmm.
didn't clock just because I was so young and I've evolved as a person. The movie has evolved because society has evolved. Like it takes all of those things for you to now be like, oh, wow, don't know how I ever didn't notice that they were queer coded. And then there's things like having Alexis Arquette in it, who I didn't know who that was. So,
There's layers to that performance that would not have been apparent until much later because of how things played out.
and that's
Um,
that's something that the movie itself didn't change. When you're watching the movie, you're like, oh, that's still the same actor who played this part. But because they changed and society changed, we're able to like see it differently from in our own perspective, that it queers that role even more.
And it's already a very queer role, Damien Blaylock. I agree with you. Every time I see Alexis in that role now, something special happens in my heart. I feel like a bit more connected to this film
Mhm.
as a queer person, and I also just love that how much the queer community has just embraced this movie.
Mhm.
It's every Halloween, throw a stone, you're gonna find somebody dressed as Tiffany.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And part of that is Jennifer Tilly and her body of work, but it's also her embracing us. She took chances with her career by playing a lesbian. That took courage to do in the 90s. And she
Mhm.
did it anyway. And she's always been an outspoken ally and advocate. And so the support that she gives us, we give back to her. It's this beautiful relationship. And as a result, this role that she played is kind of a queer icon. And if that role had gone to somebody else, Julia Roberts, Gina Davis, anybody else who was big in the 90s, we wouldn't have the same. First of all, they would have been bad, even though they're still celebrities and probably would have done the role justice to some extent. It's not the same as having somebody like Jennifer Tilly play that. She queer coded herself by doing the work that she did, and
Yeah.
we just kind of said, "Oh, we agree."
I feel like her work is the reason why Tiffany is later to be revealed as queer. I don't know if this story, and this is, of course, we're kind of getting into spoiler territory,
A little
everybody.
bit.
There's like we have three more movies after
Mhm.
this. At some point in those three movies, Tiffany starts swinging another way, or starts swinging every way, if I'm being
Yeah,
honest.
there's a lot of swing
Yeah,
and a lot of
it's a very
subtleties that go into the swinging, but like,
it's a very manic pansexual vibe. And
mhm.
I think thinking about the nature of Tiffany in this movie being that hopeless romantic, it totally makes sense
Mhm.
that Tiffany would evolve to be so in love with love, that love has no boundaries, so she would love anybody that infatuates her, really.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. What is your favorite? Is there a favorite kill for you? Did you mention this?
Oh, it's hands down Jennifer Tilly in the
Jennifer
bathtub.
Tilly in the
Like,
bathtub. Okay.
there's
Mhm.
what I will say though, revisiting our initial conversation on rewatch value, I 10 years ago, 15 years ago, God, even 20 years ago, never would have blinked an eye at Jennifer Tilly's death in this movie. I wouldn't have thought about it. I would have been so enamored of the waterbed with the mirror that that's all I would have been able to see. It wasn't until I started rewatching it for this podcast where I was like, this is a beautiful ass scene. It's very impactful. It's very queer. It's very whimsical. It's very fun. It is a new favorite of mine.
Isn't it interesting how our perspectives shift about things as we get older and experience more? Because it's not a bloody death, but it's so
No.
good. And for me, from the perspective of an actor, if I were naked in a bathtub or mostly naked in a bathtub and they were like, action, and you've got to scream your fucking head off till they say cut. And then they're like, okay, we're going to move the cameras and do it again. Ready? Action. You know, how long was
Do it
she
again,
there? How
yeah.
many takes did she do losing her mind in this bathtub? You're watching a masterclass performance of how to be electrocuted in a bathtub.
Yes. It's so dynamic. And I didn't even think about all of the angles. You're right. There's so much to it. If you're not going to watch the movie, everybody, just watch this scene.
Pull it up on
If not
YouTube.
for Jennifer Tilly, watch it for the bathtub, for the bathroom,
Oh,
for the homage to Bride of Frankenstein,
Mhm.
which Bride of Frankenstein also innately queer.
Oh, for sure.
The no heard around the world. Well, and also James Whale was like a raging homosexual
Gay.
and very out
Yeah.
about it. Capital G gay, and was not quiet about it. And this is in the 30s.
Yep.
Very tragic story, James Whale. I don't want to get into it here. Very sad. But yeah, Bride of Frankenstein is you have Dr. Pretorius, who's a queen.
Right.
The bride herself is also queer coded.
Mhm. The no
You know?
heard around the world. I love that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we share the bathtub death. That's our favorite one, huh?
Oh, it's so good.
And
Yeah.
I also think we're both aligned that the best set piece is that bathroom.
The bathroom, I mean, the whole trailer is lovely, but any bathroom that has a bathtub that deep.
I'm such a sucker and such a slut for a claw-toothed bathtub in the middle of a space.
Oh,
That is just that's luxury, that's cunty,
mhm.
that's like, I'm thinking Saltburn. I'm thinking like,
Yes.
I just love the luxurious, almost voyeuristic nature of being in the center of your bathroom, just soaking.
In
And
your tub.
I love
Mhm.
that bathroom. I love it so
Mhm.
much.
I'd move into that trailer.
I would too. And this is as somebody who grew up in a trailer, I'm telling you, trailers don't come like that. I wish.
Mhm.
If my trailer looked like that, I never would have left. I mean, it wasn't my choice, it was my mom's. But is there any last thing that you want to say?
My parting thoughts on The Bride of Chucky is it is such a wonderful jumping off point for the next movie, for Seed of Chucky, that even though it doesn't seem cohesive with the first three movies, it's such a big departure from the way that those were filmed. This movie turns the franchise on its head, but sets the tone for the next several flicks. If you haven't watched this because you're like, oh, I like the Child's Play movies, I don't know about the Chucky movies, I think you're missing out.
I would agree. I will, and this is not a hot take at all, but this movie single-handedly saved the franchise.
Yeah.
We would have no continuation of the Chucky series. We would have never gotten the TV series,
Of
which
course.
also so queer.
So cool.
So-
I mean, as gay
so
as it
queer.
could possibly be, you know. Pretty
They really went all out.
Mhm. Bummer
Um,
that got canceled. It shouldn't have.
I know.
Mhm.
I'm hoping that it comes back one way or the other.
Yeah.
Also, this is such a far left field thing, but I'm just going to say this. I have very mixed feelings about horror movie franchises that are like, well, we have nothing else to do, so let's go into space. I really want to see Chucky in space. I don't care how they make it happen. I feel like it will be so fun. I'm just going to leave that there.
Yeah.
Don Mancini, if the series doesn't get picked back up, make a Chucky in space
Chucky
movie.
in space. I'd watch it.
We're revitalizing the whole franchise yet again.
Yeah, Don, are you watching? Are you watching, Don? At Don Mancini, we're talking to you.
At real Don Mancini.
I don't know who the other Don Mancini is, but I guess we're talking to you too.
Yeah.
Random Italian man.
Do you know how much I would shit myself if Don Mancini ever watched this?
Oh, you'd lose your
I
mind.
would
I don't even think you'd be
I
capable
would
of doing anything else. I think you would just explode.
I would go nonverbal, hands down. Like there's if and if I, just even thinking about it, I can't even just like thinking about the possibility of that, like my body shuts down. Oh, oh my goodness. Okay. Before we go, I did get some audience. I want to start doing this thing. I want to get people involved.
Yeah.
So I threw a little thing on the Horror Icon Instagram story, and I just asked for some people's hot takes or their opinions about Bride of Chucky. I got a couple of responses, so I want to give some shout outs and read these. So,
Yeah.
the first one, this isn't a hot take. I think this person just read Bride of Chucky and was like, this is our mutual friend, Lena Hornet.
Oh, all right.
And
Yes.
yes, she said that she won a DVD and a T-shirt on the radio that the summer that Bride of Chucky came out. I'm guessing she
So
won the
cool.
Bride of Chucky DVD and T-shirt, and I'm like
Right.
jealous.
That is so cool.
God, so that's Lena's hot take.
Love it.
Getting free merch is the hottest of hot takes.
I wonder if she still has the T-shirt.
I have to ask her. Now, here's another one. This is from a friend and collaborator, Joshua Pangbarn. Huge horror fan, makes his own horror movies. He said pretty much it aligns with what we were just talking about how Bride of Chucky finally allowed the franchise to fully embrace its queer audience. And it's something that the franchise I probably wanted to do through its entire run with Don Mancini being a gay man himself, but being able to see the full realization of like, no, this movie is queer, and we are embracing our queer fans.
Yes.
Joshua, we both agree with you on that one.
Absolutely. Mhm.
Now the final one is from Kiki from LA. Hi, Kiki.
Hi, Kiki.
She says, and this I do agree with. She says Tiffany was too much woman for Charles Lee Ray.
Ooh. Uh-huh. Yeah, he could barely
Yeah,
handle her.
listen. I like Chucky. I do like Chucky, but this movie, I am just like, you don't know how to handle that woman. You don't know what you're doing. So, yes, Kiki, we agree with you on that one.
Yep, absolutely.
Kiki also said something interesting. I forgot to write it down, so I can't quote it verbatim. So if I'm wrong, I'm just going to cut this out. But she said that obviously, like, they're a toxic relationship. We know that. There's this whole fixation on control and power and obsession and stuff like that. But she said that that toxic relationship benefited Gigi, Glenn and Glenda in Seed of Chucky. So I would like to put a pin in that, and I think we can talk about that
Mhm.
next episode, because of course there's so much to talk about with gender identity and all, like that's like the main focal point. And I mean, I guess parenting is a huge theme in that as well, because it is a
Mhm.
family drama, but I never thought about how that parenting benefited
Mhm.
Glenn and Glenda. So it'd be really interesting to explore that. So we're putting that in our brains, right, Donnie?
We're putting that in our brains. And just as a quick aside, you should have heard me trying to explain to my therapist today the plot of Seed of Chucky. And because I was like, and there's a non-binary character. She was like, is there? And I was like, well, kind of. And then proceeded to try to explain what Glenn and Glenda was. And she was just like, she's a trans woman. And she was like, and I said, no, you gotta watch it. We gotta watch it.
Yes.
So here I am.
You gotta
I'm pimping out the Chucky series to my therapist.
As you should.
Mhm.
Listen, if my therapist hasn't seen the Chucky series, they are not my therapist.
She has
Not
seen
for
the
me.
Final Destination series. So
Speaking of Final Destination, why not? Let's go a little bit off book. So you saw Bloodlines, huh?
I did see Bloodlines. I saw it while I was in Tucson in a movie theater that had one of those like 4D chairs that like shakes and moves while you're
You
doing
saw it in 4D?
I've never done that before. It was my first time.
My mouth dropped so far open, I literally got a cramp under my tongue. Hold on. I forgot that was an option for this movie.
That's the thing.
How
Yeah.
wild.
I don't know. It was crazy. It was like there were times where I thought it was almost a little distracting, like I just wanted to watch the movie. But I really enjoyed it. I feel like it was very much a family drama that happened to
Mhm.
be a Final Destination movie. But I still really liked it. I really the opening sequence is the make or break for me, and I thought it was a make.
Oh, a big make.
Mhm.
So I did a whole video on I ranked all of the deaths of the Final Destination movies.
Yes.
It's on YouTube now, everybody. Give it a listen, give it a watch, show me some love. But I'm with you. I think it was a wonderful way to bring the franchise back.
Mhm.
The family element brought so much heart to it that I think some of the earlier Final Destinations were missing, specifically like Final Destination 4,
Mhm.
where it's just like we don't care about any of
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
This family I cared about.
Mhm.
And that opening set piece,
Yeah.
that opening scene is genuinely a contender for my favorite. It is very up there for me. I think it was so well done.
The whole
I
sequence was
loved
so good.
it was so good. And it was like as somebody who is afraid of heights, it was effective.
Yes.
It was very
It
effective.
was effective.
And y'all can tell me, sound off in the comments or wherever you want to tell me. But I'm just curious to know if anybody else when they go into a skyscraper or a tall building, just thinks about whether or not it's gonna fall over. I think about it every time
Yeah.
if I'm above like 6 stories, I'm just like, how is this shit coming down? Like, how are we doing this?
One of the
Oh,
things I thought was really cool, now that we're off topic, there's
mhm,
a woman in that first sequence, an older lady who's like really well
mhm,
dressed, and they light her on fire. And she's
mhm.
running, she's got her hands up in the air like this, and she runs through the building, and then, and they kept her on the camera for a long time, and I just laughed. I was like, look at that old lady on fire. And I thought it was CGI. And I read that they actually pulled a 71-year-old stunt woman out of retirement and literally lit her
Mhm.
on fire. And then we're like, run. How cool is that?
And they broke a record for the oldest person to be set on
To
fire.
be set on fire.
I love that that was practical,
Yeah.
and I agree, it was kind of funny,
I
not to
was
be a
like, oh
bitch.
no.
I think it was also just, like, the way she was screaming and
She
running,
was
there was just
definitely doing this.
comical about it.
Hmm.
The actress that played Iris was talking about how them doing shit like that on set, she was like, "I wasn't acting. I was genuinely shocked to see a woman on
Oh
fire
god. Yeah.
running around." And I'm like, "Honestly, work. Yeah, like,
Mhm.
effective."
Yeah, it was good. And it was, really sad to see Tony Todd look as ill
Mhm.
as he was. But I
Yeah.
know that he also improvised, so it was very touching. I teared up a little.
He was me too. He was speaking to us,
Mhm.
which and when I say us, I mean specifically me and you. Before the
Obviously.
take, he was like, "This is for CryBaby and Donnie."
Mhm.
No, the directors were just like, "Speak from the heart," and it very much felt like a love letter and a thank you and a goodbye
Yeah, it was a
from
goodbye.
Tony Todd
Mhm.
to his fans.
Yeah,
And it was so sweet, and I'm very happy that we got to have a William Bloodworth origin. Spoiler alert: a William Bloodworth origin
me
story
too.
in Tony Todd's last Final Destination movie.
Mhm.
It's like we don't need to see his death scene. We know what's going to happen. We
Yeah,
know what's coming, and that's that.
right. See that movie too. Watch Bride of Chucky and also go see Final Destination.
Yes. All right. Well, that's all we have on this
Mhm.
episode. For those of you listening out there in Babeland, if you want to share your thoughts, feel free to email horroricon@gmail.com, or you can follow us on the Instagram at horroricon. That's horror spelled with a WH, icon pod on Instagram. I'm trying to be more interactive with y'all, and as you heard, I am bringing in some hot takes and some audience input, so feel free to share them with me, and you might just make it onto the Horror Icon podcast.
Cool.
Now, before we go, Donnie, once again, where can our viewers find
Well,
you?
you can find me in two places. One is on Instagram at the Donnie Cianciotto, which is CIANCIOTTO. And every time I spell it, I kind of wish my last name was Smith, the Donnie Cianciotto. And you can also find a company that I run called Trans Voices Cabaret, which is also on Instagram and Facebook. And it's just the words Trans Voices Cabaret. And it is a company that uplifts the voices of transgender and non binary performers and singers across the country. So check that out as well.
I will co-sign that. As somebody who has both shared the stage with Trans Voices Cabaret alum and who has sat many a times in the Trans Voices Cabaret, the talent is immaculate. It is such a wonderful time. And kind of to bring it back home, we were talking a lot about queer joy earlier and how essential it is for that. And Trans Voices Cabaret is one of those moments where I was just sitting there and I'm like, I fucking love being queer. I love being here. I love connecting with these people and listening to them sing and share their souls. 10 out of 10 recommend. Show them some love.
Oh.
When is the next TVC?
We
Do you
don't have another
listed?
one planned for this year yet, but we do have a Drag Out Loud plan.
We do next
Well,
month, yeah?
Uh,
Tell them about Drag Out Loud, Donnie.
Drag Out Loud is a live singing drag show that also features non-binary and transgender performers and cisgender women who perform as like high femme or drag queens or however, drag monsters. We perform at Purgatory in Brooklyn, and it is this combination of drag and live singing. So it's like a little bit of a cabaret, but a lot of a drag show. And CryBaby has performed and also hosted one of those.
I forgot about that.
You did. I couldn't make it. I was sick, and you stepped in, and it was amazing.
An hour before the show, everybody. Surprise! It was so much fun.
Yeah. And I want to say the date just got changed. I want to say it's July 18th. It's a Saturday. So whatever that Saturday of the weekend is. And you can find online at drag_out_loud. Drag Out Loud. And every time you like or follow something that we share, you are totally supporting the trans and non-binary community. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you so much, Donnie. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Y'all should come through to the next Drag Out Loud because you might just see a couple hot babes there, like, I don't know, me and Donnie.
You might. You just might.
If you're in Brooklyn, come through. I'm still unemployed, so I need the money.
Yes. Please come and bring dollar bills to put in the bucket.
All right. Well, with that said, me. You can find me, CryBaby, on Instagram. I completely forgot this.
You got to mention you.
I know. I have to talk about me, my favorite thing. You can find me, CryBaby, on Instagram and TikTok at crying without the G _in_ public. I'm trying super duper hard to be more funsies and interactive and stuff on social media, and I would just love to see you all there because it fuels me and it brings me life. So that's that. That's all I really have to say. Again, please like, subscribe, rate, all the things. Help get our little queer voices out there to the public. We need to find our people right now. Join us next time for Seed of Chucky.
I'm ready for that. I'm so ready for Seed of Chucky.